Hey everybody, how's it going? It's been a while like usual, huh? These videos they're just not coming out as consistent as they once did, are they? Not sure how to fix that outside of making more videos, but we'll see how it goes. So what we're watching today is I made a recording of the color process that I did for a patron. Uh, Usually patrons, some tiers anyway, they want some commissions, and I usually randomly just pick one a month to do a color treatment to it. So I thought I would record it and just make a video. Two birds stoned at the same time, as the awful saying goes from Trailer Park Boys. I don't want to talk too much about the process. I can just kind of hit that up right now. So anybody that just wants that, they can hear that. And then I'm going to ramble for the rest of it, kind of like we used to do before. So what I like to do in Clip Studio Paint here is just do the flats. I'll do one giant color for the entire character. So in this case, Piccolo from Dragon Ball, and just usually I'll pick a color that they will be, right? So it could be green, it could have been blue, whatever. But I picked that, and then I'll make an additional layer above that and clip it to that shape, and you can see that on the right there. And those are all the individual colors. That way I can, adjust colors without having to go back in there and repaint or do anything crazy like that. It's very simple. It's very easy, like once you do it a couple times, the workflow, I just like the workflow. It's simple. And then after that, we make a couple layers on multiply of like a pinkish purple. That's the color I generally like to use for shadow. And then I'll also do one for highlights. And then there's some special effects work. It's nothing special at the end that I talk about, but you guys can go back to other videos to watch those if you like them a little bit more in depth. But anyway, so what I wanted to talk about today with you guys is more of it's not a style per se question or discussion, just something I've been thinking about a lot. As you can see, the drawing that I'm doing Piccolo in here, I would say is my more traditional comic book style, with some of the shadows not as heavy as I tend to do, and or rendering, sort of like this in-between stuff. And a lot of the artwork that I've been posting this year in 2021, I've been experimenting with a newer style, which I really enjoy. It's a lot more simple. I almost make it, in my mind, it's Corey Lewis mixed with a little bit of, I don't even necessarily want to say Mike Mignola, because he's a master, but I do try to channel some of the simple shapes and stuff like that with some cartooning, and then put a little bit of Kirby over top of it. At least my interpretation of him, and it's been a blast. And a lot of it's actually bleeding over into what you see here with some of those like leg shapes and stuff. Maybe even a little bit of Bruce Timm. And it's been wonderful. Except the problem is every now and then I get that itch to go in and do maybe detail is the wrong way of saying it, but at least when I look at like this Piccolo drawing, it's not that it's heavily detailed at all, but compared to the other style, once I get in there with some inking, with some line weights a little bit, it starts to feel like there's a little bit more, maybe artistic quality isn't the right word to use, but a little bit more the illusion that time was put into it. I don't even know really what the correct way of saying it is, but sometimes I just like that feeling, right? And what'll happen is, as I'm working in this newer style, I'll kind of like dream of the days back when we were working on JESOP King and stuff, and similar to what you're looking at right now, this Piccolo, this sort of look and this style, right? It's like, oh man, it'd be nice to, maybe I should keep going in this direction, and then I'll work in this one for a while, and then I'll look back at some of the newer stuff I'm doing, and I'll think, like, man, I know a lot of people aren't digging this, but for me, like art wise, and that majestic art soul that some of us artists talk about. Man, it's like it's so freeing. The shapes, the language, the simplicity, all of the good things. It's ticking a lot of boxes. So it's like, man, and then I'll want to go back and I'll ebb and flow, right? And it just got me thinking a little bit more. And I've talked about this with some live streams in the past too. And I'm throwing it out there more of you guys too as my audience. If you feel like leaving a comment, please do, because I'm curious about this. Is how many of you like to work in different styles, or do you feel comfortable in just working in a singular style and just trying to hone that? I know back when I was really pushing to do work in comic books, I had a style that's similar to like the Piccolo here, that it evolved into this direction here of, this is the look and the style that I need to go with, or that I should go with, because this is like what, could get you work in like comics, and I don't necessarily know if that's 100% true anymore. However, it definitely does have some weight and some consideration to make, and not now that I'm not really pursuing comics really at all, more of these pinups and things like that, I get a little bit more freedom to do a little bit, a little bit of different styles, and play around with some of this stuff like that. So my question to you guys is, like, do you guys hone in on one style and just keep working at that because you enjoy the way that looks or whatever? Or are you kind of like what I'm finding myself to be more and more, or maybe not even finding myself to be more and more, just sort of like coming to terms with the fact that I just enjoy working in different styles, and sometimes that's going to mean that I can't stay in a singular style forever. And then depending on the project or the mood that I'm in, these pieces are all going to look a little different. And the one of the, I guess, potential negatives to that is, and this has been a concern of mine for a while, is like when you post, the Kirby style with like this Piccolo, does that even look like the same guy drew it? Is this the same artist? You know what I mean? So it's this trying to build a library of stuff of your own. But anyway, I wanted to throw the question out there to you guys. Please let me know in the comments. I'm just curious to see if anybody else is going through the same thing. And let me know. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye bye.